want to bring in Dr. Michael Brannon. He's a clinical and forensic psychologist, a great one at that. He joins us now. And Dr. Brannon, I'm going to ask you to do something really hard here. Get into Jodi's head and explain it to us. Now, you've talked about how Jodi has shown chameleon-like qualities during her statement to the jury yesterday. So what do you think accounts for this, her lack of empathy? Let's put it that way.
Well, Ryan, it's always difficult to say when you haven't actually spoken to the person, but she's given us a lot of samples of her behavior. And in terms of when she does relay something or speak, she certainly seems to have a disconnect, if you will. It's almost like sham emotion. She's pretending to have certain emotions or trying to copy certain emotions. So even when she's given the cue about feeling sorry, she kind of acts like a person maybe should act when they're sorry, but without the emotional content behind it. So she really has a disconnect, and I think it speaks more to her personality type than anything else.
So she's not really sorry. She's simply saying the words and acting the part.
Well, it seems like, again, she doesn't have the ability to experience those emotions like other people like you or I or other people without her personality structure would feel. So she's trying to copy or mirror things, and that's why I think she presents things in a chameleon-like way to whoever she's in front of. She does a lot of what we call impression management. She's carefully trying to posture how she thinks she should appear in front of a camera, in front of a jury, in front of her attorneys, whoever, whatever the case might be.
You know, my colleague Jay Velez-Mitchell always likes to say Jodi's acting like she's in a movie. And it makes me think that maybe she likes to take on roles like she's in a movie of, for example, the abuse victim and the person who's not hated but is loved for what she's been through. What's your take on that?
Well, Ryan, it really depends on if you want to perceive her to be this volitional individual who's purposely doing this to manipulate everybody, which is easy to do. It's like making her the all-the-time bad Jodi. She's always bad. But people aren't all bad for the most part. They're combinations of different features and factors. And this isn't to stick up for her to rationalize her behavior in any way or awful behavior, but it's to say that she's probably a mix of a lot of different things. And if she truly is personality disordered, like what's been suggested by some of the psychologists who evaluated her, the way she's acting and behaving may not be volitional at all. It may show the deficits or the inadequacies that she has as a person, connecting her feelings, her emotions to what she's saying and to what other people might feel in the same situation.
Okay, now Dr. Brannon, I want to ask you about this jury because they've been going at it for about 5 hours and 15 minutes. And I want you to talk to us about how difficult this decision may be for them, maybe putting themselves in that situation of having to feel like they are the ones who would be putting her to death if they decide that way or saving her life.
Sure, Ryan. I've testified in front of a lot of juries in death penalty cases. You can see the strain on their face. You can see this is different from other kinds of cases. Even though a person may be death penalty qualified for a jury and may actually say they can do this, when you have a live person in front of you who's smiling, who's talking, who's relating to you, who's blinking and swallowing and doing all the things you're doing as well, it's much more difficult to make that decision to say, I'm going to vote to have that person put to death. Psychologically, it does something different. And how come? Because most people aren't like what Jodi appears to be. They can't cut themselves off from those emotions, that empathy, that ability to connect with another live, breathing human being, no matter what they've done. It's a difficult decision to make, especially when she's talked in front of you for 19 minutes.
I think it's one of the most, I think it's going to be one of the hardest decisions they've ever had to make in their lives. Dr. Brannon, great to talk to you.
Thanks, Ryan.